video on pigs' heads. Ta-da! So, I'm into making bacon and things like that, and there is an Italian dish called, it's not a dish, it's a cured pig cheek bacon called Guanciale. I'll probably pronounce that wrong. So I wanted to have a go at making that. It's quite a simple process as curing kind of goes. So I was kind of I had a word with my local butcher, and I kind of said I wanted to make it, and could he get me some pig's heads? And he was like, yes, the pigs are coming in tomorrow. I will save you a couple of pig's heads. And so I got 2 pig's heads for £8, which is £4 a piece. If you're handy with a knife and you're not scared of a few things, you can break these down yourself. So I don't know why. Is anyone interested in this video? I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the pig's head down. I've got 2, so I'm going to get 4 cheeks in total, and there's also going to be some spare meat on the pig's head as well. As you can kind of see, the cheek is that bit there, so that's the bit we want there. But there's also meat in the back of the head there, not the brains. Those are glands, they're not meat. But there's all this meat here, and there's all this meat here, and then you're left with a skull as well, and lots of kind of gelatin and fat rich bits of skin. So I'm going to bone it out, and then I'm going to turn the 4 cheeks into guanciale, and then all the spare bits of meat I'm going to cook down in pasta, and not pasta sauce, but tomato sauce with vegetables in. So we're going to make a ragu out of that, and then the skull and then the fatty gelatinous bits of skin I'm going to boil and make a stock. So I'll be curious to know how the stock kind of tastes. It might be kind of just kind of quite a neutral stock that's kind of quite just jellified, which is good, and we can do something with that. And then we can also, I'll pick through the skull, and there might be a bit of meat on there. I don't think the brains are in. I don't know where the brain is. I think the brain will be there, in there. So not a very big brain, considering they're supposed to be quite intelligent animals. Yeah, so the ears will go in the stock as well. And then that will be that. So I've already broken one down, so we'll move this out of the way, and then you can see what we kind of, I don't need that. So these are the 2 cheeks. I made a better job than one than the other. So as you can see there, we've got some cheeks. I still need to just take some of this sinew off. Can't work. Is that a gland or a? That might be a gland. Might be a bit of meat, but that's kind of what you want. So we'll trim this up. I might do all of that and see how it turns out. I just need to refresh my brain about what to do. But it's the thing about guanciale is it's a little bit of meat and lots of fat, so it's more like a cured lard more than anything. So those are the 2 cheeks. That's quite a lot of meat. And then we've got all these bits of meat that were all around the back of the head. And so in my head, I kind of look at that meat there, and I look at that meat there, and I kind of think that's quite a lot of meat for £4, and we're going to get some other things out of it as well. So I'm kind of like, oh, that's kind of quite a bargain, is that? £4 for a pig's head. And then we've got all this. We've got the ears and the bits of skin and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to cook that down. And the fat, some of the fat will render out of it, and the jelly will break down as well. So we'll get like a nice gelatinous kind of stock as well. So that's another thing. So I was just kind of quite curious. And also, if you've got a dog, you know, give the ear to the dog. They'll love it. So yeah, that's it. So am I going to get straight on with it, or have I got something to do? No, I need to go to the post. So we'll stop the video here, and we'll come back when I'm prepping the second head. So this is only the second pig's head that I boned out. So please be forgiving. It's kind of more of a learning experience for me as I kind of go. But do you know, like for £4 to have a faff around with something, I think it's pretty cheap, and we'll have some other nice things out of it at the end. We'll have some nice kind of like quite hard to get hold of bacon, but I've made myself, and we'll have some nice pork ragu, and it's just for £4. It's going to be interesting in my eyes. let's do this. I will do one side. I'm not going to do both because that would just be an excessively long video. And also me talking now is making an excessively long video. So we'll do one side. How did I start? I forget. So we went down here. And then it was a case of teasing the meat away from the skull. There will be better videos out there about how to do this. I'm not a qualified butcher. I don't even class myself as a chef anymore. I'm not sure your butcher would do this for you, if I'm honest, and I'd certainly want to charge you more than £4. Pig sheets are, everyone talks about them being cheap, but do you know, I've never found them cheap. And the same with the Jacob's leather as well, I've never found that to be cheap. Certainly when you're paying per kilogram for bone, just seems excessively expensive. I will pull that charger cable out, it's just going to get in the way. Hopefully we won't run out of charge. So as always, it's just a simple case of short little cuts and teasing the meat away from the bone. I need to get in there. I mean, I'm not sure anyone would actually pay me to do this. I'm probably not going to do a good enough job, but do you know, it cost me £4. I'm doing it for me. So, you know, I think you pay for things that you want to do and find enjoyable in life, and I think if I look at the grand scheme of it costing me £4 for this pig's head, and the amount of enjoyment that I'm going to get from teaching myself how to bone out a pig's head. Obviously enjoyment is your own enjoyment, you know, I mean, not everyone's going to find this interesting, but boning out a pig's head, and it only costed me £4, and then having all the other things that go with it. So I'm going to make the bacon. I mean, I haven't looked. You will be able to buy Guanciale, and you could just buy pig cheeks and make it that way, but I'm going to get that product out of it, and then I'm going to have a stock that might be an interesting stock, which we might just turn in. I don't know what we can use it for yet. I don't know what it's going to taste like. Pork stocks can be a bit strong in flavour, so I'm not entirely sure what uses I'll have for the pork stock, but there's going to be the ragu, and there's going to be some fat that renders out of it, so we'll kind of see. So life is the enjoyment in life is where you find it. So I think it's a good hobby. It doesn't cost you that much unless you're into champagne and caviar and foie gras. It doesn't cost you that much, and you get to eat it when you've done. You know, what can be better than that? So with any kind of boning out, whether it be fish or meat, it's just a simple case of keeping as close to the bone as possible. move things around. I mean, see, that's the eye there, so it's just a case of little incisions, working your way around, feeling way around the bone, and working bits out as you kind of go. So you know it's not sharp enough that it's going to want that it can cut through bone. So it's just a case of working it around. So last time I did this, I noticed that there's a bit of meat in there. So we'll have that meat out as we go, and then we'll go along there. We might have to turn it over soon. Yeah, we'll turn over. We'll just get that. Go a little bit further with that. This isn't a boning knife, this is a paring knife, which I suppose is a kind of a mistake, but I haven't got my boning knife with me. So then we'll turn over, and then this is the underside of the cheek. So there's the bone there, and there's a meat along the inside of the cheek as well. So I want that. I can't use that in the bacon that I'm going to make, but I can use that in the ragu. So we'll take the meat from the underside and make a better job of getting the cheeks off. Apologies if you can't see, but my fingers are, me knowing what I'm doing is more important than showing you on the video. So that's just the top of the blade and the meat. I need to we'll expose the blade, and then we can get down the other side. Blade's the wrong word, it's the jawbone, but we can get in there and pick it away at that. That's alright. That's better. Yes, pig's cheeks to buy them. I mean, considering most people would turn their nose up at the pig's cheek, and I don't know what the butchers are putting them in, probably in the sausages, but they certainly want to charge you a premium anywhere for the pig's cheeks, which for all intents and purposes they can't really use in anything else. So it seems expensive to pig cheeks for what they are. Yeah, so something like, alright, so yeah, the Jacob's ladder on the beef, it's part of the rib, and most of it's bone. So if you add up how much weight of the actual meat there is, you're basically paying for bone, and it's a fortune. So you're best off buying an actual, and you have to braise it for a long time, and it tastes no better than chuck. So you're best off just buying chuck. I don't know why they kind of try to make out this it's an economical cut of meat, because it's not. It's a fortune, and most of it's bone. So, but anyway, I don't know. I'll have to tie that to the other side. So that's a gland, is that? So that's not meat. I don't know what gland that will be, but it's a gland. So jawbone there. We've taken that's the cheek there. We've taken the cheek off one side, and then there's the inner cheek on this side. So we don't want to waste that. So start off, and then take away from the bone like that. I'm not going to make the bacon today, but I am gonna. I don't know if I've got enough things in to make the ragu. So the ragu might have to wait until tomorrow as well. But I'm certainly going to cook the stock and render down the fat today, once I've got this skull sorted out. So that's that. Little movements. I mean, you probably think it's not worth doing that, but I do. I paid for it. I want it. Don't know what that is. I mean, these are going to be really gelatinous, these cuts of meat that I'm pulling off here, but cooked down slowly in a ragu. They're going to be absolutely delicious. Loads of flavour, loads of jelly. Certainly enrich a tomato sauce. I'm not saying that I'm going to buy a pig's head every week to feed myself with, but I think there's always options, and certainly as on YouTube, there's loads of people. See, look at that, nice bit of meat. That, as on YouTube, there's so many people showing you how to do things for free. It's just free education. So the idea that people can't feed themselves particularly well for less money, for not that much money, I think it's a bit of a lie. I think it's probably more a case that people don't want to put the work in, because there is a lot of work involved in feeding yourself particularly well. You know, but if I wasn't talking on this video, what I would be doing would I'd be listening to a podcast or a documentary on something at the same time. Get in there. I'm just trying not to waste too much meat. There is a famous pig's head dish. Maybe it was invented by, but it was certainly cooked by and made famous by a chef called Pierre Coffin. And it was a whole pig's head, and turned it into a dish, because you used to get them for free, but very cheaply, very, very cheaply. And you used to get, a bit before my time, he's always still cooking, you used to get a brain fritter, a piece of soft pig's cheek, and then you got a bit of deep fried crispy ear. I forgot what else it was. Probably a bit of tongue as well. But he made this dish very well. Essentially a peasant dish. You know, the people would not waste. If you got a pig and you'd slaughtered it, you wouldn't waste a damn thing. So it's certainly part of that, being frugal. Yeah, turn away if you don't want to see the eye. I'll date stamp this. Not time stamp it, not date stamp. So, but as always, I mostly do things for my own amusement, rather than what other people want to do. Nothing worse than a people pleaser. I mean, my dad would always say that why would he do something like this when he could pay someone to do it and earn more doing his job than it would cost to have him. No, what did he say? He used to say that why would he spend time doing something that he could pay someone to do, and in the time that it had taken them to do it, he could have earned more than it would have cost them to pay to do it. That makes sense. But I think to myself, I think he didn't factor in the enjoyment factor and the sense of achievement, which I think is very important in life. Yes, so there's a bit of meat in there as well, if I remember now. Now I've done one, I can remember what it was like. So there's something in there. There's a bit of meat, there's a bit of... That don't want to come off there, that's there. So we need to cut down there. This meat's not going to be part of the bacon. This meat here is just going to be, I'll use it in the ragu. It's not going to come away in a clean piece because there's a bone in between. No, another good bit of meat there. Right, so we've got a bit of bone there. We can feel it, or cartilage maybe. Pigs aren't very young these days when they're slaughtered, so a lot of the bones aren't proper bones. It can be a lot of cartilage. Down. Bit of a puzzle this. You kind of just got to work your way around things. I mean, I suppose, right, okay, so I suppose the work involved with getting the cheeks out of the pig kind of justifies that the price that the butcher the time that he has to take out of his day to get the pig's cheeks out of the pig will kind of justify the price that he wants to charge for them. But if you just get rid of a head, it costs you £4. Alright, so we need to go in there. So I've answered my own question. I suppose in the good old days, there's no such thing as the good old days, by the way. In other times, let's say, there would be apprentices, and to get an apprentice to practice on a carcass that you wanted to sell for as much money as possible, and the risk of the apprentice making a right mess of the carcass that then you couldn't sell for a good price by if you ruin the joints off say if you ruined a sirloin, it would cost you a lot of money. However, you could just give them a pig's head to bone out, which was going to be waste anyway, and it wouldn't matter if you made a mess of it, but it was good practice. So that kind of makes sense. To me it does anyway. So certainly an insight into how my brain works. So there you go. That's not a bad job. That's a better job than I made with the first one. Put that side to side. So that's the first. That's the third one I did. Compare that to the first side that I did. That's what we call it. That's a vast improvement. It's a vast improvement. That so certainly taught myself a little bit of a skill. So the first head. This is the second head. That's that. So I don't want to put that on the countertop. So we've got. That's kind of the inside. So that's the ear. We'll have that off. We'll have that all that nice meat there. That's going to go to ragu. We'll cut along there, round there. That's just all. That's the eye, and that's just all sinew. So we'll cook that down in the stock. We'll take that bit off. That's snout. That bit will come off. Do that now. Actually, we'll do it on camera. Using a paring knife, which is the wrong knife entirely. So we'll cut down there. like that. And I could do it with a sharpen, but that'll be fine. So that's off there, that there. Now we have right, this will be a bit better. So we'll slice down. Like that. Take that off. Off there. So that's the cheek. That's a bit bland. We don't want that. So that's a bit of usable meat. There's the cheek. Quite a small thing, really. Most of that's fat with a bit of meat. That's a gland as well. That's a gland. That's what's come off. There's a gland underneath it as well. I don't know what glands they are. No, that's not a gland. I'll have a look at that. It's coming off anyway. So, guanciale is mostly quite a lot of fat. We need to neaten that up. So it's a lot of fat with a little bit of meat, but that's exactly what you want from it. So that's that. Ear's going to go in the stock. So we'll take off these nice bits of meat. That's going to get cooked down to the ragu. Nothing worth having there. We'll have that, certainly. We don't want that. We don't want that. So that can go in the stock. That can go in the stock. We'll whip that bit off. Snout's going to be full of jelly, so that's going to go in the stock. See what happens with that. That's the stock. Just whip that off with the wrong knife. That's that. That's a bit of meat there. That's going to go in the. That's going to go in the stock. That's a good bit of meat. That's going to get turned into ragu. So I'll have a look at that. Go into it. What's it look like inside? Is it fibrous or is it? No, that's meat. That's okay. That's meat. That's the gland there. The gland's waste. That's the gland. That's the gland. That's the gland. Right. So that's all rubbish. That's all usable meat. That's going to get ragued. That's going to go in stock. That's going to get turned into bacon guanciale. We'll probably whip that off. Probably neaten that up. I need to go and look at some videos just to kind of know how to neaten that up. So, but there we go. How to bone out a pig's head. Badly, may I add? Badly.